Good day everyone, my name is Maria LMP Onyot from BSSM 3A, and today we're diving into an essential topic in the hospitality industry of the Philippines Tourism Law, which is the Chapter 8 entitled Laws Regulating Accommodation Establishments. So hotels and accommodations are more than just places to stay. They must be clean, comfortable, functional, and safe, a true home away from home. So to ensure this, strict laws govern their operations, from guest rights to safety standards and business responsibilities. So, in this chapter 8, we will dive into these regulations, the role of accommodations in tourism, and how establishments maintain quality and security. So, let's get started. But before we dig into our topic for this chapter, we will first discuss its topic outlines and the learning objectives. So, here's the topic outline. First is the importance of hotels and accommodation establishment in tourism. Second one is the nature and description of accommodation businesses. The third one is laws and regulations affecting accommodation establishments. The fifth one is the responsibilities and liabilities of accommodation establishments. Another one is the National Homestay Program. And last but not the least is the security and safety measures in accommodation establishments. So here is our learning objectives, and at the end of this chapter, students is expected to identify the laws affecting the accommodation sector. Second is to identify the rights of hotel guests, and lastly is to explain how quality and safety standards are maintained by hotels and similar establishments by meeting minimum requirements of the law. Now let's get started. So tourism is a major driver of the Philippine economy. But to stay competitive, we must improve in key areas like infrastructure and security. While we have top quality hospitality professionals and competitive pricing, tourists also value safety and convenience. With rising tourist arrivals, the Department of Tourism sees the need for more hotels, but expansion comes with responsibility. So this chapter explores the laws that regulate accommodation establishments, ensuring safety, security, and quality for every guest. So let's begin. So for our first topic, it is the nature and description of accommodation businesses. So accommodation businesses. We have no idea what could this be. This could be hotel, motel, Airbnb, and more. And anyways, it is known that the hospitality industry offers a variety of accommodation options, each catering to different types of travelers. In the Philippines, businesses operating these establishments can be structured as single proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. Now, let's take a closer look at the different types of tourist accommodation businesses. So the first one is the hotels. So hotels are the most common type of accommodation. They provide lodging, amenities, and services to travelers for a fee, ranging from budget stays to luxury experiences. Now the next accommodation establishment in tourism industry is the resort. But did you know there's a big difference between a hotel and a resort? Even though both serve the same basic purpose, in which provides a place for tourists or guests to check in and sleep. So the distinction lies in the experience. While a hotel is mainly a place to stay, offering accommodations and basic services, a resort goes beyond from that. Resorts are designed to provide an all-inclusive experience with recreational activities, amenities like spas, pools, and entertainment options. Their goal is to ensure guests can relax, unwind, and have fun all in one place. Meanwhile, hotels, on the other hand, are typically found in urban areas and focus on offering a restful night to stay, often catering to short-term visitors rather than providing extensive recreational facilities. So that is the difference between resort and hotel, but here's another trivia for this one. So hotels and resorts are key players in Philippine tourism, offering accommodations that suit different budgets and travel needs. But did you know that these establishments follow strict classifications and regulations? So hotels are categorized based on quality and service from deluxe, which have 5-star, hotels like the Peninsula Manila, to economy, such as 2-star hotels like Hotel Las Palmas. The classification considers location, facilities, and staff services. While the resorts, on the other hand, vary based on the location. We have beach resorts, island resorts, lakeside resorts, and mountain resorts, each classified as 3As, 2As, and 1A, or special interest based on amenities and services. So, to ensure guest safety, resorts must have trained lifeguards, on-call doctors, first aid kits, and safety signs. And night swimming is only allowed with proper lighting and lifeguards on duty. Alright, that's for the hotel and resort. Let's move forward to another accommodation businesses, and this is tourist inns, in which a more affordable options where tourist inns cater to transients but do not meet the full requirements of an economy hotel. Another accommodation business is the apartals, also known as service apartments. Apartals offer furnished units for long-term stays, combining hotel-like services with apartment living and apartment living. Another one is the pension houses. So these are the family-run lodging businesses that provide a home-like atmosphere, often with shared facilities like kitchens and dining areas. And did you know that apartals and pension houses provide long-term lodging with fewer amenities than hotels? And last but not the least is the motorist hotels or the motels. Located along highways, motels provide convenient lodging for travelers, usually with dedicated parking spaces and basic amenities. And motels must maintain a guest registry and vehicle logbook and prohibit minors from checking in alone. So each of these accommodation types plays a unique role in the tourism industry, ensuring that travelers, whether short-term guests or long-term tenants, have a place to stay that fits their needs and budgets. Also, strict laws regulate all accommodation establishments to maintain cleanliness, security, and guest privacy, ensuring a safe and enjoyable experience for travelers. Understanding these differences helps us appreciate the diversity of hospitality services availability. In the hospitality industry, quality and reliability play a major role in attracting guests. While accreditation by the Department of Tourism is not required by law, it provides accommodation establishments with a competitive advantage by assuring guests of high standards in service and facilities. But what does it take to get accredited? So let's break it down. So for this topic, which is the accreditation of accommodation establishments by the Department of Tourism. So to apply for accreditation, an establishment must submit an application along with key documents, including business registration papers, financial records, a list of employees, and permits from local authorities. And if the establishment meets the requirements, it will receive a certification of accreditation valid for 1 year. However, accreditation is not permanent. It can be revoked if the establishment engages in fraud, fails to meet safety and operational standards, or allows illegal activities on its premises. The responsibility of accommodation providers goes beyond offering a place to stay. They must ensure that the safety and well-being of their guests and employees. And under the Philippine law, establishments can be held liable for damages if they fail to properly select and supervise their employees. If an employee's negligence results in harm to a guest, both the employee and the owner may be held responsible. This principle, known as vicarious liability, is meant to protect consumers and ensure businesses maintain proper oversight. But before an establishment even opens its doors, it must first comply with the National Building Code of the Philippines. So this law ensures that buildings are designed, constructed, and maintained according to modern technical standards. The National Building Code was enacted to keep up with the country's rapid urbanization and economic growth. It covers key aspects of construction, including safety, regulations, occupancy limits, and proper maintenance practices. By adhering to these guidelines, businesses create safer places for employees, guests, and to the public. In connection with the National Building Code, under Section 104, General Building Requirement states that every building must be designed with safety in mind, whether for residential, commercial, and manufacturing use. Structures must follow proper construction principles and environmental safeguards. Maintenance is also the key, ensuring buildings remain in good condition for the safety of the occupants and the community. Another law under Section 105 of Site Requirements, in which it states that the location of a building or structure must be hygienic and safe. And yes, location matters. Residential buildings must be built at a safe distance from hazardous areas such as polluted water bodies, volcanic sites, and locations with high fire or explosion risk. Authorities determine safe distances to prevent disasters and protect lives. And by following building and site regulations, we create safer communities and sustainable environments. And here, still in connection with our current topic, which is the National Building Code of the Philippines, it is a must to know that buildings are not just structures. They must be safe, sustainable, and accessible for everyone. In this section, let's explore the essential laws that ensure public safety, environmental protection, and inclusivity. So here's the key laws and regulations. So under the Code on Sanitation of the Philippines, PD 856, and Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000, Republic Act of 9003, it states that every establishment must meet strict sanitation requirements from water supply to proper waste disposal. Ensuring cleanliness helps to prevent diseases and promotes public health. Another laws regulation under the Fire Code of the Philippines, PD 1185, in which states that fire safety is a priority. Before any building opens, a fire safety inspection is required. Features like fire exits, sprinklers, and alarms help prevent and respond to emergencies. Another of the regulation of the law is the Philippine Environmental Code. PD 1152 states that protecting our environment is essential. Laws on air and water quality as well as solid waste management ensure a cleaner and healthier future for all. And this is another one is the Law to Enhance Mobility of Disabled Persons, BP 344. Inclusivity matters. Building must have ramps, railings, and accessible parking to accommodate everyone, ensuring equal mobility and convenience. By following these laws, we create safer, cleaner, and more accessible communities. So let's build responsibility for a better tomorrow. And that's all for our topic of National Building Code of the Philippines. For our next topic, we will tackle about another law, which is the building permit. And under Section 301, no one can construct or alter or demolish any building without first obtaining a building permit from the building official in charge. But how do you apply for one? So the application process, as stated in Section 302, requires submitting a written application along with essential details such as, first one is a description of the work to be done, proof of lot ownership or lease agreement, and the intended use of the building and estimated cost of the project. In addition, the law requires at least 5 sets of architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing plans signed and sealed by licensed professionals. This ensures that the buildings meets safety and zoning regulations. It is also important to note that no building can be used or occupied without a certificate of occupancy, which is issued only after the building officials confirms that all safety standards have been met. Now, let's talk about the general requirements of all buildings by use or occupancy under Section 704. So buildings must have direct access to a public space, yard, or street. Moreover, exterior walls must have fire resistance to protect occupants in case of emergencies. So for accommodation establishments like hotels, apartments, and boarding houses, which fall under Group B occupancies, there's a strict location and fire resistance standards are enforced to ensure that safety of more than 10 occupants. Now let's proceed to another law regulated in terms of light and ventilation requirements that must be observed or an essential design to be applied in accommodation establishments. So to start, Article 801 of the law states that all buildings must be designed to provide adequate light and ventilation. Additionally, every building must face a public street, alley, or an approved private street. This ensures proper air circulation and access to natural light. Next, we have Article 806, which specifies the minimum sizes of different rooms. For us, such as human habitation rooms, at least 6 square meters with a minimum of dimension of 2 meters. For kitchens, at least 3 square meters with a minimum dimension of 1.50 meters. Bath and toilet, at least 1.20 square meters with a minimum dimension of 0.90 meters. Another is the Article 807, in which outlines the necessary airspace per person in different settings. For schoolrooms, 3 cubic meters with 1 square meter of floor area per person. Workshops, factories, and offices, 12 cubic meters of airspace person is allowed, while habitable rooms, 14 cubic meters of airspace per person. These standards help maintain adequate air circulation and prevent overcrowding. Moving on, Article 808 states that rooms without artificial ventilation must have windows. These windows should have a free area equal to at least 10% of the floor area and must open to a yard, street, alley, or open water course. And lastly, Article 811 addresses artificial ventilation requirements. Certain rooms such as bakeries, hotel, kitchens, laundries, and boiler rooms require at least 10 air changes per hour to maintain good air quality. In this section, we will discuss the essential sanitation laws that ensure the health and safety of building occupants. So let's go over the key provisions. According to Section 901, all buildings constructed or modified for human habitation must have a potable water supply, proper plumbing installation, a suitable wastewater disposal system, stormwater drainage, pest and vermin control, noise abatement, and devices. These measures protect both the building's occupants and neighboring residents. And in terms of water supply, the law states that potable water must come from an existing municipal water system whenever available. If sourced from underground, it must comply with the national standards for drinking water. Deep well construction and operation are governed by the Water Code of the Philippines, ensuring water quality and sustainability. And in terms of wastewater and sewage disposal, sanitary sewage must be discharged into the nearest city sewer system in compliance with sanitation codes. If no sewer system is available, buildings must use septic tanks that conform to the National Plumbing Code. And lastly, in terms of drainage and pest control, rainwater drainage must be separate from the sanitary sewer system to prevent contamination. Buildings made of hollow or wood construction should include rot-proofing measures. Garbage bins must be properly maintained to prevent pest infestations, and sanitation laws plays a crucial role in maintaining public health. Proper water supply, wastewater management, and pest control ensures safe living conditions. By adhering to these regulations, we contribute to a healthier and cleaner environment. So let's move forward to another topic in which we will understand the general design and construction requirements. So these ensure that all structures are safe, durable, and functional. Let's go over to these essential provisions. So for structural and material requirements, under Section 1201 states that all buildings must meet the regulations governing materials, design methods, and occupancy classifications. So structural integrity should comply with the National Structural Code of the Philippines, ensuring stability and safety for exits and stairways. So for exits and stairways, buildings must have sufficient number of exits based on occupant load. So floors with over 10 occupants need at least 2 exits. Buildings with 500 to 999 occupants require at least 3 exits. Buildings with 1,000 or more occupants need at least 4 exits, and stairways must meet with requirements with handrails properly installed to ensure safe evacuation. In terms of fire safety and signage, we must take fire safety seriously as fire safety is crucial. Automatic fire extinguishing systems must be installed in spaces larger than 200 square meters with an occupant load above 20. Signboards should not obstruct views or traffic and must comply with the National Structural Code. And overall, adhering to these designs and construction standards ensure safe and efficient buildings. Talking about general design and construction requirements, we'll be discussing the regulations regarding the registration of guests in hotels and inns. Let's go over to the key points. So under the Civil Code of the Philippines, hotels and inns must register their guests. This is to ensure that they are accountable for deposits made by the travelers. Hotel keepers are responsible for the safekeeping of guests' belongings, including those in annexes like garages. In terms of the liability of hotel keepers, the law states that hotel keepers are liable for loss or damaged items if first is the loss is caused by hotel employees or the strangers. Second is the loss is due to the theft without the use of arms or force. However, they are not liable if the loss is caused by force majeure such as floods or fire. The loss is due to the guest's own negligence or actions. And lastly, the registration of guests ensures both security and accountability in accommodation establishments. Hotel keepers must take necessary precautions to protect guests' belongings while ensuring compliance with the law. Now let's proceed for another topic about an initiative that brings tourists closer to move forward about an initiative that brings tourists closer to Filipino culture. This is the National Homestay Program. So this program allows travelers to stay with local families, providing them with a more immersive experience while boosting community-based tourism. So to qualify for this program, homestay sites must meet specific requirements such as having peaceful surroundings, nearby attractions, and accessibility to transport. Homes must also be well-maintained, provide essential amenities, and offer home-cooked meals at reasonable prices. Additionally, homestay families must undergo training conducted by the Department of Tourism to ensure quality service. This program not only benefits travelers but also empowers local communities by creating livelihood opportunities. We are at our two last topics, so moving forward, we will now dive into regulations that ensure the safety, security, and sustainability of tourism and accommodations in the Philippines. So now let's talk about waste management. So under Presidential Decree Number 1152 and Republic Act 9003, businesses and local governments must follow strict guidelines to keep our environment clean. Waste disposal into seas, rivers, and shorelines is strictly prohibited. LGUs are required to set up proper waste management programs to prevent pollution and maintain sanitary conditions. In terms of segregation, we are all aware that waste segregation is a must, and all establishments, including hotels and homestays, must separate waste into categories like compostable, non-recyclable, and recyclable. But did you know that acts like littering, open burning, and illegal dumping are punishable under Republic Act 9003? These violations can lead to fines, penalties, or even business closures. So now for our last topic on this chapter, in which is the safety and security in hotels and resorts, the DOT Memorandum Circular Number 2006-209 mandates strict security measures to ensure a safe and enjoyable stay for the tourist. Non-compliance can lead to accreditation review or penalties. So let's go over to the key guidelines. Here are the 10 essential safety measures for hotels and resorts that must be followed. First, for the guest registration, all visitors must be properly registered using valid IDs such as the passport. And second is vehicle monitoring. Hotels must record vehicle details transporting guests. Third one is the staff ID system. All employees must wear proper identification. For proper hiring processes, security personnel must be carefully selected and trained. Fifth is the crisis management team. A team must be trained for emergency responses. Another one is the security spotters and guards. Staff must monitor guest movements and patrol premises. The seventh one is the CCTV surveillance, in which public areas must have high-resolution CCTV cameras. Eighth one is the elevator access control, in which high-rise hotels must have electronic access control in elevators. For the ninth one is the annual security training. Managers and security officers must undergo yearly training. And lastly, coordination with authorities. Establishment must link with PNP, hospitals, and emergency agencies. So why these measures matters? So these security protocols prevent theft, fraud, and harm, ensuring a safe and trustworthy environment for guests. Hotels that fail to comply risk losing their accreditation and damaging their reputation. Safety is key to building guest trust and maintaining industry standards. By following the DOT security guidelines, hotels and resorts or any accommodation establishments create a secure and welcoming space for the travelers. So that's all for our topic in this chapter. But before I end this presentation, I will leave you another quote to ponder upon. So this is from William Shakespeare, saying that we know what we are, but know not what we may be. So this quote tells us that we all think we know what we are already, who we are and what we can achieve. What we know though is based on our past. But the reality is that none of us really knows what we could be, what our future can hold, and what we truly can achieve. In short, the future holds endless possibilities, and our potential is shaped by the choices we make today. Embracing growth and change allows us to become more than we ever imagined. So, that's for our quote segment of this presentation. And again, that's all for this chapter. Thank you for listening and I hope you learned something. This is Maria LNP Onyot of BSHM 3A and see you in our next video.